Welcome to Pax Europiana, this time from these dramatic moments here at the start of the Russian war against Europe. This is a major attack against an innocent country, and it happened here on the 24th of February 2022, a day which will live in infamy. It's an absolute horror day that Russia attacks Ukraine for the only crime that it's not a crime. It wants to join the NATO and the European Union. It wants to join us. And therefore it has to be destroyed. This is the logic of Putin, and the rest is invented. Yeah, the Kaiser, Stalin, Lenin. This is all blah 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 blah. They want to join us. The Ukrainians want to join the EU and NATO. We have anyhow rejected them. The PiSers have rejected them because we wouldn't have this war if Merkel and Scholz and Emmanuel and Sarkozy would have allowed Ukraine in NATO and the EU. But the French presidents, Sarkozy, Hollande, and also then now Macron, the worst of all, yeah, and the German chancellors, they have consistently blocked since 2008 the wish of America to integrate Ukraine, and this has led to the Georgian war, to the Ukrainian war in 2014 ongoing, and to this full-scale escalation in 2022, which will have, I don't know which kind of terrible consequences. For the Ukrainians, it's already clear, but for the world, we are all at the beginning of something really terrible, and we have to act now to stop Mr. Putin. Of course, I don't call for American or European troops. Yeah? We don't have these troops in Europe. We don't have this capacity. Even the German chief of staff of the army said he cannot do anything with his army. He cannot even defend NATO allies because they have underinvested so much. He said today in a tweet or on LinkedIn of desperation. What we can do, we are still a very big economic power. So we can end trade with Russia. I call to a complete end of trade. No trade with the enemy. That is very logical. That's always in case of war. You never trade with the enemy. That's treason. And so get everybody out of the Russian boards. Yeah, Mr. Schüssel, I talk about you and Kern and Gazprom. Put it under high treason if they continue. They will be in prison if they continue. It's very simple. That's a Trading with the Enemy Act included. No energy purchases, not stopping maybe certification of Nord Stream 2, that's ridiculous. And all energy contracts, break them unilaterally and all energy projects and all energy cooperation immediately, by today. And we will manage. The sun is shining, we will manage. Yeah? There is no way that we can allow this to happen. So then we come to the next point. Obviously, it's what I say very clearly, no trade with the enemy includes also that we break diplomatic relations. We break the diplomatic relations, it's very clear, and we exclude Russia from the United Nations, from the Council of Europe, from the OSCE, from the WTO, and from the G20. If the Russians want to hang out with the Chinese somewhere, they can do it. They have their own organizations. But they should not somehow poison with the venom of war and the International Organization for Trade, for Peace, UN, WTO. The OSCE was made for the Soviet Union and the West to discuss peacefully. And we somehow managed. With Russian under Putin, it's not possible. He is doing this invasion, so he has to be excluded of all these organizations and to break the relations. And then we have basically the economic status of war. I'm not calling for the Austrian tanks to move into the Ukrainian steppe before helping our friends. Yeah, no. The Ukrainians will be physically alone in this one. It's very hard, but it's this fact that was the result of the appeasement policy. But we can peg their currency to the euro and give the financial guarantee for the government. We can send 12 billion in the month of February still to support their financial efforts here. And then the government will not break down because they have the money, they have the currency. The Russian ruble has lost a lot of, the stock market has lost. Yeah? So we can economically put Russia to its knees by stopping to buy things. Yeah? We can politically isolate Russia completely in the international organizations and also break the diplomatic relations. And also we can put everybody who is still invested in Russia on a blacklist. We have to separate now, confiscate all the Russian property, and they will confiscate our property. Yes, okay, but they have much more with us than we with them. They are the smaller partner. Russia will be in the end of its fiscal capacity by the end of the year. War is very expensive. And our economic sanctions, I'm not talking about sanctions, I'm talking about the end of economic cooperation. Excluding them from SWIFT is just this minor technicality in that concept. Yeah? We have to end energy trade. We have to end all trade with Russia. Trading with the enemy is high treason. That means no access to the financial market. Closing the borders with Russia. No access of Russian citizens to the European Union, to the UK and America. No, closing of the borders. Interdiction of airline travel, interdiction of railway travel, interdiction of land border access to the EU and to no ships of Russia in European harbors anymore. Closing of the straits by Russia, by Turkey in the Bosporus, the Skagerrak in the North Sea, no, in the Eastern Sea next to Denmark,